Hi there, thank you for joining me today in my virtual classroom. Today I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy card using the fabulous Bo Bunny Anthem Papers, and I'm beginning here by cutting a piece of navy blue cardstock to measure 5 3/4 inches by 11.5 inches. Then either using your paper trimmer or a score board, you want to score your card in half at 5 3/4 inches. So first I'm going to create a base map for my card. So I'm cutting a piece of Anthem history paper that is 5.5 inches square. And if you notice that I've kept the little side flourish that you'll be able to see when this card design's finished. And then I'm going to cut another 5.5 inch square from this Anthem paper. And I'm going to be using this top portion that's got the least of the design on it because I'm really only interested in the stripe and the gorgeous sort of damask pattern that's on the back of the paper. Next up, I'm rounding the two bottom corners of the Anthem history paper. And I'm also going to separate the layers of the card because this is a pretty old corner punch. You might have one that's a little bit more sturdy, and I'm rounding the two bottom corners of my card. I'm sorry about the shake on the tripod there. Now we're going to be working on the Anthem stripe, and what you want to do is decide the angle that you want the design to sit at across either your scrapbook page, if you're working on a scrapbook page, or your card. So I'm going to work and draw a line that's 1 1/4 inches up from the right hand edge to 2.5 inches on the left hand edge. So just using a pencil, draw from one side of the card to the other. Now, if you were slightly cleverer than me, you might have worked out a way of evening up the stripes so that you don't get that little extra piece of red at the edge of the card that I've got, but I can live with that. And now all you need to do is use your scissors and snip up each side of the stripes up to your pencil line. And then you're going to take your scissors and snip out every cream coloured stripe, working along that pencil line that you made earlier. So you're removing every other stripe. And now it's time to open up my Bo Bunny brads, and I'm going to be using these lovely glittery brads to hold my papers in place as I curl them backwards to reveal the lovely damask pattern that's on the back of the Anthem paper. So working on a piece of foam to protect your work surface, I'm just gently making a small split to push the brads through to hold the paper loops in position. You have to be a little bit careful with this, otherwise you'll get a hole where you didn't want one. You could use a piercing tool if you want to, but I'm using my craft knife because the backs on these brads are a little bit chunky, and I quite often find that I can't push them through just a pierced hole. So just be careful if you're using your craft knife, and you're just creating a series of paper loops running along that diagonal and revealing that beautiful paper that's underneath the stripe. I picked out this star brad to use on my card, and I'm going to use a small strip of the Anthem celebration paper that I had left over from a layout that I made earlier, and I'm going to create a ribbon for my card using this small strip of paper. So I'm cutting it into a strip that measures 3/8 of an inch wide. This is a little bit tricky when you've only got a small amount of paper left, but once you've got it in position, the bar of your paper trimmer will hold it in place. Then use some chipped sapphire to lightly ink the edges of your paper strips. Now, I'm not sure at this point how much of my paper strips I'm going to be using, but I've cut two to make sure that I don't run out. And it really is just a light inking of the edges of the paper ribbon. They are quite a narrow strip of paper, so you'll probably ink more of your thumb than you do of your paper, which, as you can see from this video, is exactly what I'm doing. Next, you're going to take that paper ribbon strip and attach it to the navy blue cardstock, the little strip that you had left once you'd cut out your square card base. I'm using a nice strong double-sided tape to do this. Attach your ribbon strip so that you can cut along the edge with your decal edge scissors to make a pretty blue band on the edge of your paper ribbon. I use the edge of the paper as a guide to keep my scissors straight, and remember to match the pattern as you move along the ribbon strip. And that's it, you've got one pretty piece of paper ribbon ready to decorate your card. Now I'm cutting it at 5.5 inches to the width of my stripy paper, and I'm going to attach it with some double-sided tape, roughly about 1/4 of an inch down from the top of the stripy paper. And then I'm going to create a little bit of a rosette effect with the rest of the paper. So I'm cutting 2 strips of paper that measure 1 3/4 inches, and then I'm going to cut the ends into a diagonal point, and then I'm going to attach them to the card using a small strip of double-sided tape, and then I'm going to pierce a hole and push my brad through the top of the rosette. Now there's quite a lot of paper bulk here, so do be careful with your craft knife when you're piercing that hole. Make sure you're working on a piece of foam and that you don't get your fingers in the way. Then you're going to attach that base cream piece of paper, and you're going to centre it on your card front. Again, we're using double-sided tape to put all the elements together, and then you're going to attach your stripy paper on top. So next I want a greeting, and I'm going to use my 2 Stampin' Up punches, and they come in very, very useful for small greetings. And I've just got "It's Your Birthday," and I've decided to use the last little bit of my paper ribbon, waste not, want not, and I'm going to attach my greeting to the end of it with some foam pads. And for the inside of the card, you're going to cut another piece of the Anthem history paper to measure 5.5 inches square, and round the 2 bottom corners as you did for the front of the card, and attach that to the inside of the card with double-sided tape. Now create another strip of paper ribbon that measures 5.5 inches in length, and attach it to your card base. Now, as you can see, I had a little bit of a happy accident here and created a little bit of rick-rack effect paper by the fact that I've got 2 cuts with my decal edge scissors, and I quite like it, and I'm going to use it on my card. So I'm attaching the paper strip in position with double-sided tape, and then just making a design decision on where to use this little piece of cut off, and I think I'm going to stick it at the top of the card. So because it's quite narrow, I'm going to use a little bit of a glue to attach it into position. Oh no, what have I done with my glue? What you can't see either side of me on this camera shot is a great big pile of stuff that collects as I work. So I've buried my glue under my papers. There we go, and then I'm going to attach that little happy accident to the top of my card, and I think that makes quite a nice addition. I've decided not to stamp the inside of the card because I want to be able to put a more personal greeting when I decide who the card is going to. So that's it. I hope you like this card showing you how to use a stripy paper to be able to reveal the pretty paper underneath using the fabulous Anthem collection from Bo Bunny. I'm definitely going to be playing with this technique as I think it looks very effective, particularly from this side view. Thank you for joining me in my classroom. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you for watching.